When you actually first went down to Colombia, how much of the film did you sort of have in mind, or what was it entirely sort of conceived out of your experience down there?
Very little. I mean, I was just I didn't know I didn't know about a lot of the situations in these places, and just talking to the local fishermen, and they would tell us these crazy stories of, guys getting in these homemade submarines and people going on go fast boats and tugging narco torpedoes, people bales being shoved in the corner of like these freighters and all kinds of just really really crazy stuff. So that was kind of like my first like glimpse into it a little bit. But then as I started to think about it as a narrative film and got more specific with the research, that's when I went to Buenaventura, and I went to another city on the Pacific coast of Colombia called Tumaco, and that's when it became more specific about what the story was going to be, that who the actors were going to be, and sort of what the plot was. The plot is roughly based on a real guy's journey on a go fast boat from Buenaventura to Panama.
Could you talk a little bit about the time you spent in Colombia, traveling there, and preparing to actually make the film?
Sure. So I was first in Colombia backpacking with a good friend of mine in 2006, I believe. And we were just backpacking through Ecuador and Colombia and going along the Pacific coast and hitching rides with fishermen and going to these isolated towns. And that's where I first started to hear sort of about these areas that are kind of just under siege by narco trafficking and all kinds of different things going on with all these different groups present in these areas. And then this was right before I started my graduate degree at NYU for film. So over the course of the years, I kept going back to Colombia and researching. A friend named Kelly Morales, who's from the region, has family from the area. We went on an extensive research trip in that area. And then I also lived in Bogota for 3 months, and I lived in Cali for a little over a month. So a good amount of time in Colombia. And then the actual film itself was 10 weeks of shooting. And this was all spread out over the course of probably like 6 years.
You mentioned in the press notes that it's sort of a less glamorous look than we normally get at the drug trade, or
Mm-hmm.
the life of someone in the drug trade.
Mm-hmm.
Was that something important to you to get across, or is it more just birthed out of being there and seeing what it's done to these people?
I mean, it was more just the matter of fact reality of that's what is going on, and I felt like people don't, you don't really see that. You see like, drug bosses with really attractive women and money and cars and stuff like that, but the sort of the beginning steps of this process start in places like Buenaventura and Tumaco, and there's people being exploited and extorted to be involved in this world, and a lot of times they don't have a choice. And so it was just very, matter of fact from going there. I mean, it only takes just going to Buenaventura and spending some time there, you quickly understand that there's a lot of stuff going on under the surface, and it's very much a place kind of under siege with a lot of issues. But the culture and the people there are amazing and rich, and there's incredible actors and artists and musicians, and so it's a very unique place.
Could you talk a little bit about some of the workshops you set up and working with a bunch of the locals and
Sure.
on the film?
So when the first time that one of my producers, Elena Greenlee, and Alan Blanco, the co-writer and cinematographer, the first time they ever went to Buenaventura, the first time I went to Colombia was going to Buenaventura. And that was that's when things were really starting to be real, because before that, it was always just me and like a friend coming there and meeting people and saying, I'm going to make a movie. And they're like, eventually they started to believe me because I kept showing up. But now that there's production, people starting to come, they're like, okay, this thing's really going to happen. We started going to these places and letting them know, and they're very much behind the film. They felt like, there's a lot of issues going on there that isn't ever brought into the forefront of media in Colombia, and so they support us very much, but at the same time they were like, what are you gonna give us? You're just gonna come here and shoot and leave, and it's not like our film, it was an extremely low budget film. We're not gonna be able to pay lots of money or change anyone's life in any sort of way in that sense monetarily. So really it was Elena who championed the idea, and me and Alan quickly came on board of doing these filmmaking workshops to teach the local people how to tell their stories and how to make little videos and stuff. And so we did a 5-week filmmaking workshop with people from one of the main barrios we shot in, Barrio El Jardín, the kids from the University Univalle Pacifico, and a general group of people in Buenaventura. And it was a huge success, and it was really beautiful. And we started, we had like, I think it was like 6 groups, and each group had like a 3 or 4 page script. They would write it, and then the next time we would break it down, and then on the last day we broke up into groups, and we all went out and shot it on digital camera phones. So it was beautiful. And I'm like half my friends on Facebook are from Buenaventura now, and it's great because I get they're generating material. I see all the stuff they're making and stuff, so it's cool. So yeah.
So did it ever feel dangerous being down there?
I mean, Buenaventura is obviously, there's parts of it that are very dangerous, and there are moments of tense times, but we as a team, we don't really want to like glamorize that too much to draw attention to the film or anything like that, because really the film is the danger exists for the people that live there. In Buenaventura, there's all these invisible borders in between the towns, and like certain people can't go to certain towns, and it's controlled by all this. But for us, the communities embraced us, and they allowed us to shoot there because we were, they knew our intentions and what we were trying to do. So, we were, I mean, it was complicated, obviously, and there were some tough times here and there, but for the most part, we were able to leave, and we have a miracle. I mean, we have a film, and it's nothing short of a miracle that we got to shoot in Buenaventura.
So now that it's completed and you're able to be premiering it here in Tribeca and touring it, what's that response like? What's the release and people's praise? Or
I mean, we had our Colombian premiere at the Cartagena Film Festival, and the Colombian reaction to the audience's reaction was incredible. Very emotional, and the actors came, and some of the production people from Buenaventura came, and it was beautiful. I mean, I was extremely nervous because none of them had seen it. The actors hadn't seen it, and but it was a standing ovation for the actors, and that was of course most important to us because we're 50-50 co-production with Colombia, and it's a Colombian film, so we wanted to. We hope that it had a positive reaction with that audience, and it was very, very emotional. And then here in Tribeca, it's been great too. It's different, it's not the little nuances of the story and stuff like that are play differently to an American audience. But so far it's all been positive, man. It's been good reaction so far. So we'll see.